Hello, everyone. Hello, Africa. Hello, world. Welcome to Pitchside. Welcome to yet again another exciting edition of Pitchside. I keep telling you people that whenever you're checking out our content, just do one simple thing: hit the subscription button on Pitchside with Tabu Peter. When you do that, you're joining the big family where you get exclusive stories, big stories, exclusive interviews, and all of that. So we grow as a family. Just hit the subscription button, Pitchside with Tabu Peter on YouTube, and you'll definitely get all this exclusive information. Welcome aboard yet again another exciting edition, and I can tell you for sure that whenever I have extremely knowledgeable and important guests on the show, you definitely know that we have a very big topical discussion to discuss. Just before I bring in my guest, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the Startimes Uganda Premier League is one of the biggest products in Ugandan football over time. We know for sure that this is a league that produces the talents that represent Uganda across the world, but over time we've had a couple of talking points here and there about the league and how far it can develop, just how big it can get, especially in line with our neighbors in the region. And I thought it wise to catch up with a senior in the sports journalism field. I have the privilege of being joined by so many quotes, but here we go. A professional in the marketing and branding business, but also a senior journalist over the years. Mr. Aldrine Nsubuga SNR joins me on Pitchside today. Senior, it's a pleasure to have you, sir.
It's a pleasure to be back once again.
Yes.
Whenever you call upon me,
yes,
I'm always happy to be here. So greetings to the audience.
All right. A pleasure to spare a minute because you're extremely busy. So, Mr. Aldrine Nsubuga, as we count down to another Startimes Uganda Premier League season that is going to start not too far from now, you want to think that the discussion is just how exciting this is going to be on and off the pitch, and that's why I have you on Pitchside today. Now, in 2018, you are one of the few faces that we saw sign a lucrative, TV deal that involved Startimes Uganda and FUFA and the Uganda Premier League. A 10-year deal at that time, valued at 26 billion, about $7 million US, and it was billed as one of the biggest TV deals in Ugandan football history, and that's for sure. Today, we're 8 years down the road, and there's been quite some exciting league campaigns here and there. But as someone who's been a part of this whole process, what's your general assessment of the Startimes Uganda Premier League ever since the marriage started?
First of all, it is the biggest football deal in the history of Ugandan football, not just one of the biggest. I don't remember any company that has got into this kind of relationship with Ugandan football for even more than 5 years. We signed a 10-year, and so far we are 8 years into it. So it is the biggest deal. Remember, the league football is the bread and butter of football for any country.
Yes.
So it's the most important football product in any country. In the nation's football development program, the league must be at the base. It must be the primary concern. So it's why we believe that in joining through this property, it will be the best evidence that we genuinely want to add our brick to developing the game. 8 years later, for instance, in terms of broadcast, because we took on one title sponsorship, which is why it is the Startimes Uganda Premier League, but also we took on the broadcast rights. In terms of broadcast, from day one to this day, the number of games that are broadcast every season have been growing. And that makes us very proud. We joined this partnership when only the most that had ever been broadcast in terms of the league was 63 games. Today, we broadcast more than 140 games. That's almost 2.5 times more games being broadcast on TV. That's progress, that's development. And that's a move in the right direction. In terms of real money, to date, we have committed or invested 55 billion Uganda shillings into the game through one broadcast rights. 2, production. Those games we broadcast must be produced. You spend money to produce those games.
Yeah.
So when you add the 2, it's about 55 billion Uganda shillings.
Yeah.
Now, for us, I will tell you, there is nothing in Ugandan football today that will give you equal, that will give you a return on investment 100%.
Okay.
But the fact that we've gone ahead and done that shows you commitment and genuine interest in helping the game. Have we seen the game grow? In many aspects, yes. In others, we think it could have done better. But in terms of professionalizing, to some extent, there is big improvement. There is still a lot of work to be done, though. In terms of competitiveness of the league, it's debatable. We think it's more competitive today because now we are playing outside the so-called traditional 3. Then you would come every season and your first thinking is Villa, KCC, Express. Today, not only have 1 or 2 of those traditional teams fallen off in terms of expectation, now we have a whole new lot of clubs that are genuine, not contenders, but they are genuine top clubs now that also rule. Vipers, Chitara, NEC, Bull. Today, those are teams that have come to stake their claim in terms of being counted among the big boys. And in terms of the traditionals, a club like Express has fallen off the radar. So there are dynamics that have gone on, but there's change. And then lastly, if you think of our players who never had a chance then to market themselves, over the last 8 years, hundreds of Ugandan players have gotten a chance to go somewhere for either semi-professional football or professional football in Africa, East Africa, in Asia, in Europe. Now, for us, that makes us very proud because, TV has had a very, very good part in that.
All right. Thank you very much, Senior, on that insight of just how proud Startimes is to associate with Ugandan football for 8 years as, the sponsors and TV rights holders. I want to ask you, in terms of production, do you think Startimes has done their best to make sure that the production of the league is at the level that it deserves? In the first years, maybe you are finding your feet and all, but 8 years later, when you look around at the levels of production in the region, in terms of football production, do you think that level you think they've done your best, or you could do better, or it's perfect?
To start with, you've got to understand that the weakest part of football growth and development in Uganda has been infrastructure, still remains infrastructure. TV production moves alongside quality of infrastructure.
That's true.
We have had an endemic lack of good facilities. If you talk stadiums that are good enough to host games, good enough to go on TV, the best stadium has been Nambole. It's hardly been available for almost the 8 years for exactly that. The times when it was in right order, the cost of teams having home games at Nambole was very high. So the clubs that would host games there couldn't or can't host because of the cost associated with that. And that cost is purely determined by Nambole, who are the owners of the stadium. So then what happens? Teams that could have had that stadium have to opt for other stadiums whose facilities in terms of quality are below standard.
Yes.
The other that came up in that time, Lugogo, which is the MTN Omondi Stadium, by and large, it passes probably 60% of the requirements. So we've used it. New stadia available for hosting games. Ham Stadium, for years, it was dilapidated, it couldn't be used. For the last 3 years, it's been up and available, but again, after the refurbishment, the renovations and rehabilitation, then the cost also goes high. So for Ham Stadium to host a club, the cost that it comes with can't be afforded by the club. It leaves St. Mary's Kitende, which is a privately owned facility, the best by far, considering the available alternatives. That has been present throughout, probably. Now, that history is important to understand that our evaluation on performance in terms of broadcast can't be isolated from the factors that come with it. Going by the few facilities that are available and what we've been able to do with those few facilities, not more than 3 stadia in this period, I've just said producing 145 plus games a season, that's performing way beyond probably what technically would have been possible. But also remember, many of those games, it's compromise. Because we've had to produce games at facilities that are not good enough.
Rosira, and so on and so on.
And so on and so forth. So, but because of the commitment, at the end of the day, Ugandans want to see football on TV, but we don't own facility, we don't own stadia, we own broadcast. Let's use what we own and give them the most that we can, and that we've done. Now, when it comes to quality, quality is, do you use satellite? Do you use live view? Because the quality also is determined by that.
I was headed to that,
The picture that people see is each HD quality and whatever names you have. Not all games have gone on air with the capacity that we would have wanted or the quality that we would have wanted. Remember, we outsource production companies. We don't produce the games ourselves. So we've gone out there, identified private companies that are into this business. In our judgment, they have the capacity. As part, again, of our giving to football, rather than owning the entire space ourselves, we could have chosen to bring in Obi Vans. Startimes is a media company. We have leagues in 8 other territories in Africa. We could have opted to actually bring in Obi Vans. We could have opted to actually have professional cameramen and the entire thing that is researched, and we do it ourselves at Startimes. But then that would be us investing and taking back everything. So to demonstrate to the country and to the football fraternity that we are here to develop the industry, we gave chance to indigenous Ugandan companies as well to benefit from this sponsorship beyond the players, beyond the clubs. Who else is benefiting from the Startimes sponsorship? Companies that are into production. They use taboos who do commentary, who do analysis, because by creating this, those people also get jobs.
Who do content on the sidelines of
content
games.
On sidelines. So for us, that's what we looked at and that's what we've been doing. But when we go that route, that's where you realize that the indigenous or private companies, because of the cost again involved, they also have their limitations, which is why you won't always have every game being produced via satellite. Which is the one that guarantees you
good quality.
Sometimes they're going to have to use live view, which 100% relies on internet. Now, games that are outside central Uganda or even in more remote areas of the central region, because of the limitations of internet, you'll notice that those games will have issues because internet is not being used. And you will see the interference.
So what would you prefer, Mr. Aldrine Nsubuga? Would you prefer supporting indigenous companies or producing quality football or putting out quality production that is going to have the league compete with other leagues in the region?
For us, our interest is to balance both. We can't shy away from the fact that football needs to benefit from a company sponsorship. And football here is not just the actors on the field. It's a lot of other people. They need to see that they also benefit. I think we part to have a balance, but more importantly, because into broadcast, ultimately we want to see a good picture, good production, a good product. That drives us. And that's why sometimes we are mad ourselves when we judge the product as not so good on TV. But well, in trying to balance standards, it's not a take it or leave it. It's trying to find a balance. And then in the end, we go with numbers. The numbers may not be 100%. We still give them the product, but we push our the companies that we've taken on to try and do better at improving the production quality.
The production. All right. So it's a huge step in believing in local production and giving them the opportunity to showcase what they can do. But it's also crucial for the local production team that has been trusted to make sure they deliver, because the feedback from the people is not that Startimes is trying to empower local production. It's actually that Startimes has not done enough to make sure that there's quality production out there. So now you know that it's a balance. So those that are responsible,
especially if they know the cost of producing one game. The cost of producing one game is about 3,000 US dollars plus about 1,500 in terms of facilitating the teams that produce.
So that's almost $4,000.
4,000 to 4,500 per game.
Yeah.
That is what we are doing at present. That's what we pay the production companies. But in a professional league, and the returns are good and there's no compromise, to produce a game in any other top league in Africa, it may not cost less than, the least you could probably pay for that wouldn't be less than $20,000.
You're right about that.
So you can see that it's because it's Uganda, it's Ugandan economy. So either way, we are just trying to do our best to give them from the list that can be afforded.
To deliver a product. Briefly, as we move away from the production and the 10-year TV deal that was signed, Mr. Aldrine, for the 8 years that you've been, sponsoring the league as title sponsors and also naming rights sponsors, I want to understand, has there been any change in the contract? Because at the start, you are taking up the Uganda Premier League and the big league. Has there been any changes in that contract from then up to now? And also the monies that the clubs receive, has there been an increment in all of that? It's important for people to know, because maybe some don't know that the contract had ABCD.
Okay. One of the primary elements of that contract was there is an incremental figure every season. So every season, by default, the contract that one signs guarantees an increment in how much clubs will get, because it was incremental. It wasn't a flat figure. It was incremental. So that answers your question. Are there changes? Yes. The contract structure is such that every season there is an increment in terms of percentage, what we put on the table, which means what clubs get. That's one. Two, there have been some changes. Yes. I think 3 seasons ago, the federation and ourselves sat and renegotiated. The renegotiation was the federation wanted to get back the big league.
Yes.
Because remember, it's also one of their primary properties.
Yes.
And they felt they wanted to be in control. It's a direct product of theirs. And also they are looking to encourage different other sponsors to come into the game. So because initially we're the only ones in the space, we took up everything. But later, as different companies and brands showed interest in joining, remember, if we had the Startimes Uganda Premier League and the FOFA Big League, then we had the 2 biggest properties in terms of football. And then it's almost as if we've locked out everyone. So the spirit was to open up, allow the federation to try other channels.
Especially after they created a TV station.
Exactly. So we gave it away.
The big league.
It went back to the federation, which was done officially. We accepted to that. We decided to focus on the Startimes Uganda Premier League. So that was already a change. The other that changes, or that has changed, you notice we started with 16 clubs as the number in the Startimes Uganda Premier League.
Yes.
Along the way, you know that because of the circumstances prevailing, at some point a league ended when it had 15. As we speak today, the clubs have been increased to 18. Now, you may want to know, does a sponsor have anything to do with that? And I'll tell you, no, we don't. Okay. Because one, that's to do with format.
Yes.
That's to do with structure of the league. FIFA owns all football leagues in the country, which are under their federation.
Yes.
They own them, meaning they manage them.
Yeah.
They determine the format and everything related. Yeah. A sponsor is just a partner who comes in to render support. Yeah. Whatever you bring on the table is supportive.
Yes.
It doesn't give you inherent rights to take over anything.
As we actually move away from the contract and everything, it would be very unfair of me to sit here and engage you, Mr. Aldrine Nsubuga, and in your position with Startimes, without asking, have you guys had value in what you're putting money into? As Startimes, what are the figures on ground? Are the decoders being sold? Are people watching Startimes? Are people enjoying the product? What is it? And as of course, a seasoned salesman, you're in a right position to tell me, is there a value for money in this business?
You're asking about the return on investment.
Yes.
Startimes are in the content business.
Yes.
We produce content, we sell content. We are in the content business.
Yes.
When we acquired the Startimes Uganda Premier League,
yes,
what we're actually doing, our interest was to acquire premium content we can add to our content portfolio. Remember, we do movies, we do entertainment, we do music, we do kids programming, we do other sports. All that is content. We believed that if we add premium sports content, which is local, and in our case, football is the biggest in Uganda, and the league is content, we believe that when we add to it, it will increase the value that we give to our subscriber. When they switch on Startimes, they can get A, B, C, and the sports fans can also get A, B, C. In terms of viewership value, we've increased by adding Startimes Uganda Premier League. That is value that we've increased in terms of content. Over years, yes, we've sold decoders because Ugandans love their football. They support certain teams, their regional clubs, sometimes like Kitara. There's a time we had Onduparaka. Those customers who are in regions and they want to follow their clubs to watch their teams play, they will need the Startimes decoder and they'll buy that decoder. Yes, that has happened. Do people pay subscription to watch the games? Yes. Remember, we have daily subscription. So typically, if today my KCC is playing against Lugazi, KCC fan who may not be able to go in the field will even pay today so that they can switch on their decoder and watch. That's revenue. We have weekly subscription alternatives. If someone has identified the week where there are big games and they're keen on all of them, they'll pay for a week so that they don't miss those games and they will watch those games as well. We have an app, Startimes On. Some who find it convenient to use their phone, they'll pay via the app.
I've used the app.
You've used the app.
With the silverbacks.
And many actually do use that. Now, if you look at it that way, I will tell you there is value in the Startimes Uganda Premier League that we have gotten and that we are getting. And that's why we've stuck there for 8 seasons, which is a rare thing in Ugandan sports sponsorships. However, have we gotten a return on investment? I'll say no, because those are two different things. Return on investment means if I put in 100 million, everything done and taken into account at the end of the year, if I make a net profit of 50 million and it's a profit, that's a good return on investment because I'm not in losses and I've taken all costs of production and whatever promotion into account, and when I net it off, I have a bottom line I can be proud of when I look in my bank. That's what return on investment mean. Can we say of that, in as far as the Startimes Uganda Premier League, that single product is concerned? Unfortunately, no. And I'll give you typical illustration for you just to
Yes.
go and work out the numbers.
Yes.
I've told you that in 8 years, the cash that we put on the table, real cash,
Is
into this
55 billion.
is 55 billion. Tabo,
Yes.
close your eyes and imagine for a bit. Do you think Ugandan football has given us 100 billion? Do you think Ugandan football has given us 60 billion? Do you think Ugandan football has given us 70 billion? Do you think Ugandan football has given us 56 billion? Just try to do it yourself.
No.
It hasn't happened.
Honestly, it hasn't happened.
It can't happen.
It can't happen.
And probably there are reasons for it. So I think I've already answered that.
You've answered my question.
Why is probably the other
Why
issue.
is where we're headed to. And I want to ask you this question. I want you to walk away from the seat you've been stayed in as, one of the top henchos at Startimes, Uganda, and now wear the journalism coat, which we are all now doing here. One of the biggest issues, yes, 8 years, yes, 55 billion invested, but one of the biggest issues, Mr. Aldrine Nsubuga, that is on the table now is the Startimes Uganda Premier League is not marketed, it's not branded, the identity is not exactly there, and in the region, when you look around, we are falling behind. Tanzania, we don't want to mention about them because we know how big they are. Kenya, they're already catching up here and there. From your perspective, who has dropped the ball in making sure this league is out there for people to embrace it and welcome it?
First and foremost,
Yes.
I will point to the clubs. There is contractually something we call a deed of adherence
Yes.
that every club that participates in a league season is supposed to sign.
Yeah.
The deed of adherence is a document that should be signed, ought to be signed by the participating club
Yes.
and the Uganda Premier League as a commitment
Yes.
by the club to adhere to certain terms and conditions of participating in that league. One, for the UPL, but more importantly, for the sponsor. The sponsor does not wake up and say, I'm going to put 55 billion in Ugandan football so far for 8 seasons, and that's what I want to do and go. This is a commercial decision. It's business. We put money into football first and foremost to do business because we are a private company that is limited and we are into this for business. So we expect returns. Now, there are minimum expectations from everybody. UPL as the management of the clubs, but also the members of UPL or the members who form UPL, which are the clubs.
Yeah.
Now, the minimum expectation is what you find in the deed of adherence. Things that contribute to the product that is going to broadcast on TV, there are requirements that are expected of clubs.
Yeah.
You find those in the deed of adherence.
Yes.
Let's talk promotion of the league because that's the benefit of we the sponsor.
Yes.
And remember, you mentioned money, and this has nothing to do with money. What should the club do as a minimum? I'll give an example.
Yes.
We are here for content.
Yes.
In the contract we signed, and that should not even be rocket science,
Huh.
we got the rights to own SUPL content or related content. Any content related to the Startimes Uganda Premier League is ours. Contractually,
Yes.
it's what we paid for
Yeah.
to get the title and also the broadcast, especially the title. What does that mean? Things like me bringing my cameras and recording a training session, getting interviews from players, whether it is before or during this week,
Or
coming
a magazine
or a
program.
magazine program,
Yes.
or interviewing a player individually. That is content that naturally is generated from the property called the league because players are in the league. Training is training for clubs in the league. Everything related, that's content I'm entitled to without any condition.
That's true.
Part of the deed of adherence requirements is that clubs should give me access to get that content.
Yes.
I could give you things like clubs having to promote through social media accounts, being active on social media, having actual marketing arms or departments, having promoters, doing press conferences. The issue of promoting and marketing, if we start with the clubs, it is contractual. It's an entitlement that we have. Those things are supposed to be in the deed of adherence. Now, the disappointment, again as an example. Tabo.
Yes.
Today, and this is the 8th season.
Yeah.
Do you know that the season ends when only 2 clubs have given us access or allowed to give us access to do an interview of a player, to call them to come on Sanyuka Prime and be interviewed, to actually go and film a training before a big game, to go and talk to a coach? Tabo, we have to beg, and we haven't even always been successful. We have to beg to do an interview of a player,
Yet you're
an
using your resources?
interview of a coach.
Yet you're using your resources?
Our resources, we are going to promote that club game because we are going to broadcast it, which gives back their audience and the mileage. But the clubs want us to seek permission from who? Sometimes it is the CEO who tells you they don't have the right to allow us. Or the coach will tell you, please talk to the CEO. The player will tell you, please talk to the coach.
But I need
the
to
coach
know
will
those
tell you,
clubs,
we are focusing on the game. Our players are not accessible. Or you first go to the CEO. The way clubs treat us on a day-to-day, on two fronts, we have a channel, Tabo, which is dedicated to the SUPL. That's
true.
Sanyuka Prime.
Yes.
That channel is for SUPL clubs. Whatever they want, whether it's interviews, whether it's creating a channel and they want us to give the channel, that channel is for us to be used by those players, those coaches, those managers to promote them, UPL, everybody. And it is the channel we use to broadcast those games. But clubs make us go through a bureaucratic process of confirming that we've been cleared. Now, that for me, I would excuse everything else. But when it comes to demanding that Startimes 6, and in the end result, we've not been able to get access to that. We have big games, matches coming in, the big games that define the season, the derbies. We can't get these guys on TV. We can't get their interviews. You know what? Because we don't allow our coaches to talk. So we don't allow our captains to talk. That is what we get from the clubs. And then what is the discrepancy? Do the clubs understand what this is all about? They don't.
So basically, to as Startimes, you're out there to try and help clubs who do not have this equipment and resources to try and promote the league and push them and put them out there. But the clubs are putting limitations, which, for crying out loud, are not necessary. My question is now, and that's sad that's happening, because it's rocket science that if someone has the resources to shoot content and edit and put it out there, and a club is saying all sorts of excuses, that's a different discussion altogether. My question now is, let's put the production bit aside, like you've mentioned, away from shooting content, editing and putting it out there. What about the usual promotion of putting adverts out there, of reaching out to people, influencing those hashtags, sort of like making it intentional? Isn't it something that a sponsor can buy into and invest into? Because that's a question people are asking. Now, that yes, clubs, but how about Startimes?
No.
You can't come out there and do that.
I need to first educate here.
Yes.
So that people don't confuse the two.
Yes.
If we begin from the notion or the angle that we do not own the Uganda Premier League, we do not own the club, we are not owners of football. If we start from there, then you would understand that the primary responsibility of promoting the property does not lie with us. So if we start from there, yes, then you would understand that primarily the owners of the league, the clubs, primarily are responsible to promote their league. The owners of the clubs, the owners of the players, primarily are responsible for promoting their clubs, pushing their players, giving profile, creating social media. Primarily, that is their responsibility. So how do we then share into that responsibility? Our stake is title sponsor, broadcast sponsor. So, do we have a marketing plan to give our stake? Yes, we do. And Tabu, anything you know about these games, the broadcasts, the fixtures coming up, the publicity, you'll admit we are doing our part. It may not be what people expect us, because now everybody expects that we take over and we invest huge sums in marketing and promotion. Tabu, on the production and broadcast and minimum side, I've told you put in 55 billion. I've told you we've not realized return on investment on the basic things that we paid for. And already you are expecting me
to add more
over
money
and above that to go the extra mile and still put in more money. Because what are you saying? You are the ones who are getting out of it. Now, that attitude is what has killed this whole thing. That the players in this, the clubs, the media, the players are in this. The only person they think is gaining from this is the sponsor. That's why the attitude is the sponsors should be putting in more. Because nobody realizes that we are not the ultimate gainers of this. How is everybody going to join in if you, the clubs, are not making them see the value in there? That's the problem. So they expect that someone else should see the value, but not us. That's the approach by the media. That's the approach by the clubs. Yet they're forgetting you create your own value.
I want to understand, where do you draw the line? I understand where you're coming from, that as a sponsor, you've invested quite a fortune. And in terms of the returns, in terms of the league that you're investing in, there is literally nothing for you to take home. So where do you draw the line? And what are the consequences of these clubs failing to honor their part of the bargain of the league? And what are the consequences from your angle?
The consequences. One, the league doesn't increase its value to match with the value that you normally want to compare Tanzania, Algeria, blah. One consequence, the league value remains low. No value. If the league has little value or no value, how much do you expect from any other person, including Startimes, who wants to come and acquire title sponsorship rights? What's the value you put on the table?
Why do people think that people are there to pay more than what is being offered?
That's the first thing. You haven't created value for your league. You haven't created value for your clubs. You are saying you are going out there to look for sponsors to take your shirt, to put on the sleeve. You are selling them stadium spaces. So you expect that the guys who have the money and are looking to market their brands should just come to football and to clubs and give you 1 billion because you are a football club. That's the thinking. But you are not realizing that you haven't created that value to earn that right. So that's the first consequence. Value.
Yes.
The second, the element of value also comes through the competitiveness of the league, the quality of players, the quality of football. When you don't do the primary things we are talking about, it affects the quality of the game. It affects the class of players that you have, the quality and standards of coaching and everything. And in the end, it affects the competitiveness of the league. If your league is not competitive enough, it raises serious questions what the value of the sponsor is going to get. Because the fans, what attracts them? The competitiveness. Fans want to start a season when they don't know who the winner is. They want to go through half of the season when they are going to watch every game because the result influences the other. I don't know. That's what makes fans pick interest in a league, to watch those games, to pay for those tickets, to buy that merchandise. It's competitiveness. A league without competition kills the opportunity to grow the fan base, kills the opportunity to recruit a new fan base, competitiveness. All these things come as a result. Now, you are talking about drawing the line. I think for me, it's obvious. Football has many stakeholders. The word is stakeholders.
Yes.
Startimes stakeholding is in TV broadcasts and title naming. That's our stakeholding. So let me ask you, who has as primary stakeholding the interest in filling stadiums with fans?
You know what, Mr. Aldrine Nsubuga? I'm going to tell you this plainly. People are saying, Aldrine waffe, ali mu office y'abasajja, ye lwaki tayimirira n'atusupportinga go game mazima. You've been
Okusupportinga baani?
you worked behind the scenes, you gave Villa sponsorship, shirt sponsorship here when Startimes came. Lwaki gwe toyimirira abasajja n'obagamba abachina tibannange katwongereko at least billion endala 10 tulange liigi eno muko obuntu. That's what people are saying.
Tabo,
Yes.
you are aware that for 5 seasons,
Yes.
again through me, Startimes took up sponsorship of KCCA and SC Villa.
I know for
with
a fact.
extra financing
That
per
I know.
season, 500 million. Question: what addition value did we get? So Aldrine Nsubuga and Startimes is still in this because of Aldrine Nsubuga. I'm telling you that the only reason why we are still in this
It's because
for 8 years
you're in that mix.
because Aldrine Nsubuga. I am the only one who can make a case, and even at the bare minimum, we stay in this thing. We are 2 years to complete. Big questions. When they complained at first, they said it's very little money.
Yeah.
After 8 years, I want to ask you, Tabo, your mates, and the football fraternity. You are sure there are more than 2 companies in Ugandan which are willing to put in 55 billion in Ugandan football that gives back very little?
I can't say for sure.
Please appreciate that Startimes opted, committed, we've come, embraced the game, and put our brick over a tofali on this game. And we are proud to do that. But for anybody to take that for granted is the issue. The sponsor does not own clubs. The sponsor does not own football. With or without the sponsor, football will be there. So people should not attach a sponsor to the existence
Of the league.
of the property of the league and the continuity. Lastly, they have complained that we give them very little, right?
Yes.
I want you to begin a survey that you carry out yourself as Pitchside
Yes.
and establish how much money do clubs in the Startimes Uganda Premier League believe they should get from a sponsor. If they say the 80 million per season that Startimes gives them is little money, I'm tasking you to tell me how much do they want or do they expect to get from the sponsor?
All right. Anything new that is popping up from Startimes ahead of the new season, briefly?
No, for us, I have to remind you, we have 2 seasons left, and this is what we've done.
Yes.
This is what we are saying. As Startimes, we are going to give it the last shot because we have 2 remaining seasons.
Yeah.
Last shot in what? How we promote the league, we'll give it the last shot. What is within our means? The strategies of promoting the fixtures, the games we broadcast, the value we create around the league property in terms of digital promotion, promotion on air and all, the visibility. We've recruited an entire team this particular season before it starts to focus on digital and all related promotion of the SUPL. We are going to create different content properties around the SUPL. What we've done right now, we brought it back on the table and reminded UPL that there's something called deed of adherence. If clubs were to respect this, and they won't respect it unless they sign it. Whenever you have new clubs that come in the season, those clubs have no idea what your sponsorship rights are or what the terms are. You need to educate them. After, you need to show them what they call a deed of adherence so that they know their responsibility. So we are reminding them and getting now back on the table to say, let every participating club in the know their responsibilities, know what is expected of them. If they sign the deed of adherence, themselves, together with ourselves and UPL, we join this one last time and everybody does what they're supposed to do. this league will get more attention, this league will have more value, this league will be better supported, those stadiums will fill, people will buy those tickets, people will come and buy that merchandise, we shall grow our fan bases, we shall draw government attention, everybody's attention to this league is going to look better, this league is going to give us more value for us as football. But it will take us to get back to basics. Basics means that deed of adherence must be returned to, signed and understood, and then the cooperation. And then lastly, we believe, let's market better. Unfortunately, and this is why we now need to double our efforts, and these are the challenges that we have as sponsors. As we speak today, is there a player who can be used as the ambassador for the Startimes Uganda Premier League?
A poster boy.
A poster boy. That name you can use to splash around and you draw attention. Thank God, Okello is gone. Question: whose responsibility is it to produce another Alan Okello? Who everybody, even if you're clients, we all agree, let's use this boy. Okay, let's say 4 players. Can we agree that we all help ourselves to help and get those 4 players? Unfortunately, the Startimes Uganda Premier League today does not have those players. Is that our problem? It's the league. Every league rides on star boys to promote it, to lure new fans, to put it in the people's faces. That poster boy, you need those star boys. You don't sell a league generically. You don't do it that way. You need, because we people in football, we love stars. We move with stars. We love with celebrity footballers. Do we have celebrity footballers as we go into the 26-27 league? You and me.
As we conclude, from your perspective now as a journalist, we're having 18 teams this season. Briefly, is it going to be more competitive? How are you looking at it?
Unfortunately for me, I don't think it's going to be more competitive. It attempts to answer questions of regional representation.
It does.
A team from Chigezi, Okabale, a team from, is it Mitiana? There's that region. Tunga Sase.
Those are
from
going
there,
to play from Chira Road.
We have one from Black's Power, from Lira. Regionally presenting, it helps because it helps to market the league to new territories and it increases the uptake. That's a good one. That helps. Competitiveness, absolutely not. It's not by coincidence that every season, out of the 3 teams that have been going back, either all 3 have just come or 2 of them were promoted that season or the following season. Then the 3rd, which didn't go last season, also goes. It is the foundation we built our football. Because where is the foundation that these teams have based on to come in? Oh, the other one was Kataka from Bali. I would rather, out of 18 teams, zero down on at least 9 or 8. If those 8 give us the basics, if those 8 are strong teams, they attract fan bases, they are good at promotion, they bring a certain amount of value. They have a stadium which brings in fun, they are organized, they are good at their own marketing. If those 8 are good at those basics that we consider, we are willing to take this gamble. Let's put all our resources in giving those 9 teams more broadcast games, promoting their fixtures more. I mean, let's put our resources in pushing those teams' fixtures, promotions, their players, because we know evidence shows that one game promoted well gives you more audience, gives you more money than 10 games promoted the same, which don't necessarily give you the same value. If I put my effort and energies on those, even the stadiums will fill and everybody will think we are promoting all the 18 when we are not doing that. Why? Because those, if you narrow them down, they are the ones that have something they bring on the table in terms of real value.
All right, we are concluding this, the World Cup, for the very first time. 48 teams, 10 African teams played at the World Cup. The whole world came to a standstill as Spain won their second World Cup title against Argentina. And I'm sitting next to a diehard Argentina fan. Briefly, before we get to Argentina and Scaloni and everything, the World Cup, what's your take home?
For me,
on the World Cup,
it's been better than previous World Cups by all standards. One, it's not just the increase of participation, it is that the participation has shown us that other territories can compete at this level. For the first time, if you tell me that out of 10 African participants, 9 went out of the group stages, that's progress. That's showing the potential that we have. It does not matter what group, it does not matter where we passed. We did get out of the group stages. So for me, that is one indicator. 2, competitiveness. This is the first Cup when we've clearly seen that, yes, on any given day, factors constant, the big issue of big teams and small teams, first beat me before you say you have a right to beat me. We have seen that. If VAR is consistent, match officiation is consistent, we would have seen more scalps at this World Cup. That is another. So for me, in terms of level and improvement in standards across continents, there is proof that yes, continents have improved in terms of football.
Is it the end of the Messi era?
Messi is done. Done his part. The question for me is, has it resolved the GOAT debate? And for me, remember, if you've been following me, my GOAT debate has never been between Messi and Ronaldo and the likes. My GOAT debate has always been Messi and Diego Armando Maradona. If he had won the second World Cup, finally I would have put up my hands and say yes.
Yes,
he
is
now
above Armando.
Above Armando Maradona. He hasn't done it in a tournament which was scripted for him to win it. In a tournament where Maya Argentina was scripted to win it. He has not done it. We know in the final, he did not appear. He was very uninfluential. He was very ordinary. He was non-impactful. I could even forget that he played that. It was a final. So now don't start reminding me of the 8 goals on the way to the final, of the assists on the way to the final. When it mattered most was the final.
He didn't show up.
He did not show up. Another final, he did not show up. So the GOAT issue for me settles in my mind. Thank God. For me, Diego Armando Maradona is football's GOAT, and it ends it for me.
And it ends it for you.
Yeah.
All right. So we've had a very interesting chat with my senior, Aldrine Nsubuga Senior. Came by, broke down what's happening in the Startimes Uganda Premier League and also the World Cup. We're done and dusted with that. Rodri Hernandez, what a player. Balled the entire Argentinian midfielder and told them to go home. But that's football for you. Senior, thank you so much. Webale nnyo kumusalako. Akantu okampadde. Therefore, tugenda maso.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, guys, as always, keep it pitchside and subscribe. Cheers.